everyone, this is Rachel over at Moonlight Library. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Today we are doing March wrap-up. So all the books I read in March, I read 9 books. Where'd I put my phone? Oh. We're gonna go over all 9 of the books, and also I put them in a special order. I'm like, let's make today special. I changed my location because, you know what? We're deciding to shoot my videos in different places than next to my bookshelf, which I love my bookshelf location, but I also love the rest of my house. So let's enjoy that too. This is my bedroom. Welcome to my room. We're going to go in order of least to most rated on Goodreads for each of these books, so how many ratings they've had, not like their average rating or anything like that. We're gonna go through them like that. I have 7 that I physically have and read, and then 2 that I don't have because I got them from the library and I had to return them. That's just how it goes. Okay, so the first one of them's not on my list too because I finished one of them March 31st. Didn't expect that. So the first one is going to be House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. Oh my God, I was shocked. I was shooketh by this book. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. It's a vampire story in like a fantasy world, which, get ready for a theme, 2 themes. I'll point them out as they come this month. What's going on with me? I'm theming up, and they weren't for reading vlogs, these themes. That just happened. Actually, a 3rd theme. So the 3rd theme was a lot of 5-star books because we'll talk about that later. This girl lives in kind of like this poor, like the south of this country thing, and in the north there are all these vampires that are super rich, and like she decides to become a blood maid. So that means she's gonna go up there, work at one of the houses. So she works at the House of Hunger. There's like the House of blah blah blah, the House of blah, I don't know, House of Doves, House of Bones, House of Ash. She goes up there and she becomes a blood maid, and it's a little different than you think. It's very sapphic too, so she's kind of a great character, but she's kind of also this stubborn, I don't know, she makes you a little angry, but at the same time she asks the questions that you want to be asked, and it takes a turn, and it is pretty brutal. It is unexpected. It's very gory, bloody, and it was a wonderful story, and it had me on the edge of my seat, and I loved it more than I thought I would. I was just kind of like, I guess I'll read this book this month, and beautiful. Chef's kiss. Next up, we have Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. I'm a big Talia Hibbert fan, and this is her YA romance, her first YA romance, I believe. And this one had 10,000 reviews on Goodreads. Get on this one. It is new. It's 2013. It came out, I think, in January, and it is adorable. We have 2 characters who are complicated. They have a past of like friendship that has gone wrong. They're no longer friends at this point. She's really into like conspiracy theories and UFOs and stuff like that. Very interesting that she doesn't go down the right-wing pipeline, because I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people. Anyways, so he is this like popular, cool guy, but we're getting from both of their perspectives. So we get to understand who she is and what she's struggling with in her life, and figuring out where she wants to go with her life and why she wants to go there, because she has some, like, her dad's left her family and stuff like that, and she's doing things kind of like to spite him. And he, on the other hand, is also kind of following a path that he believes he should be following. He has OCD, and he's kind of like working with that. It is just, I love it. They go to this like outdoor explorers camp thing that's supposed to be really good on their resumes, with her like all-time hero. I love them. They're so cute. Another 5-star read. I was just enamored by these 2. It was really sweet. It was, it never upset me or annoyed me. I feel like their conflicts really grind my gears. they grind my gears. It made sense, you know, because they all have a third act conflict, and if it makes sense, then that's fine. But I still hate them. I still hate them because it's just, that's not really how it goes, you know? That's not how it goes. In books it does, but not in real life. So, you know, I have opinions. I have opinions. Our next book is Talia Hibbert. No. Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun by Elle Cosimano. And this series, so this had 17,550 something when I looked, which is remarkably close to the next one. Under 100, I feel like, close in reviews. So this is our next one. And this story, if you don't know what Finlay Donovan is, this is the third one. And this is a mistaken identity. She's a writer and she's telling the plot of her book to her agent at a Panera, and someone overhears her and thinks that she is a hit person. It's followed the same line for too long. It's like, this should have been cleared up and we should be moving on. Also, it's gotten very ridiculous. And I understand the idea of suspending belief, but at the same time, there's kind of this line that we toe. It's getting old, firstly. Also, the fact that it's too unbelievable because we're in such a real world setting. It's not panning out for me, especially because the idea is getting old, I think. So I was just talking about the show You, the fact that they really switched up the fourth season, which is very refreshing, but also the idea that you're suspending belief in that show as well. And it works for that one probably because I'm still engaged in it, so I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't believe someone could actually do some of the things that he's up to. Like, there's certain things that you're like, you can't, how did you build that? You know, like, how did you do that without anyone noticing? But in this one, I think it's because the idea is getting old that I can't believe it and I'm uninterested at this point, or like mildly uninterested. And I gave it a 3 stars. So the first one got a 5, the second one got a 4. This one gets a 3. And it really needs to ramp something up because I didn't even know why this story's happening. Like, it should have had a very fresh outlook. Something should have really changed in this one, and it didn't. We're just following the same stuff. So what do you do with that? Nothing. Oh, so sad. Next up is 17,600 something ratings on Goodreads. Wow, The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This wasn't a new one. I got it through Book of the Month in February. I really enjoyed it. This one, I think it's just so ridiculous. So it's this woman who has just turned 30. That matters in the beginning. It doesn't really matter. But she is a writer. She hasn't really gone anywhere with her career. Like, she has not gone anywhere with her career. But she gets the chance to go to this writing retreat that's put on by her all-time favorite heroine of an author who does horror books and stuff. And she is so excited. So she gets to go to this place that's like super creepy, like this mansion that this woman works in, and it's all snowy out. It goes crazy. This is a thriller. Like, you are thrilled. And guess who's there as well? Is her ex-best friend, who's also a writer, who also got like put up to this by their old friend that was also a writer. Everyone's a fucking writer in this book. We're following her our main character primarily. Her name is Alex. Her friend Ren's there. There's only 5 women in general got chosen, and there are 2 of them, and it goes bonkers. Like, it is off the wall. There's weird stuff going on. This is a creepy place. They're supposed to be writing a whole freaking manuscript by the end, a whole brand new one, and they have a lot of stuff to do, and they're dealing with a lot, and by the end you're just like, how did we get here? What happened? I gave it a 4-star because I was like, it wasn't a perfect book. It was not a perfect book, but I think the wildness of the ride really took me there. It took me there, and I was like, you're a 4. I loved you, but I didn't love you enough. How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Who isn't reading this right now? I feel like everyone I know is reading this. Two of my friends in real life are also reading this or just finished this, and we're gonna get together and chat about it, and I'm so excited. But it has 26,000 ratings on Goodreads. This woman, she is living her life. Her parents both pass away tragically, and she has to go back to her old childhood home to get it ready for the funeral, maybe sell the house, sort of get things taken care of. And there's creepy freaking puppets. So it was wild. It was disgusting. I swear I almost puked twice during this book. That is such a glowing review. If I am almost just if I'm gagging, then you are winning the book award from me. I am loving you if you're making me feel the way that this book, oh my God. There's just stuff that I'm just and it's funny, and her brother is so fucking annoying, and I love it so much. He's such a victim. It's so good. Just their interactions between the two of them. I'm a Grady Hendrix fan, okay, through and through. This is my third book from him, and I'm feeling it. I am going to read more. I'm going to read the rest. I've read My Best Friend's Exorcism and How to Sell Your Soul. So We Sold Our Souls. I can never say the name of that book. I can never say it. They're all very long. My Best Friend's Exorcism. That's 4 words. Anyways, so this was a 5-star. It was so good. This is the horror that I was looking for. This was the horror that I needed at the time that I read it. So I'm kissing all my books here. We're just kissing them all. You'd think it was February still. Okay, so the next book. I'm right now doing this in a reading vlog, and I'm the type that I'm doing a themed reading vlog, and I don't finish the reading vlog in the month. So we're always reviewing those books halfway through. Whatever, stay tuned. I'll have this reading vlog at some point. Anyways, I'm chatting. This one has 38,000 views at the time of this we're seeing. This is The Serpent and the Wings of Night, another vampire book. Oh, I forgot to talk to you about that. House, and the other one was also House of Hunger. Crazy than vampires. House of Hunger also has vampires. What? That wasn't as interesting as I thought. No, it's very interesting. Also, I think I read another book with House in the title last month, and I gave it a really good review as well. My candles are burning down. They're Rachel, you need to finish this vlog right now. This video. Anyways, Serpents and the Wings of Night. I don't usually read much high fantasy, but this is romance fantasy. And that's what I'm trying to get into, is firstly romance fantasy, and secondly high fantasy. I've been saying it on this channel. I am in a time in my life. There's a time in my life, and it's right now, and this is my type of book. And I proved it to myself with this one. Serpents and the Wings of Night is high fantasy romance vampire book where there's this girl, she's a human, and this vampire world where there are also humans there, and the vampires rule the world, sort of thing. And her father finds her and adopts her, and her father is the vampire king. There's 2 factions of vampires that have always been warring, and there's this goddess who has this moon trial thing happening once every 100 or 200 years. Our human girl, who there's never been a human in these trials, decides that she's going to join. Her father wants her to too, because at the end you get a wish granted from the goddess of vampires, and there's a guy in that trial, but it's a battle royale. So what's going to happen? Oh my God, they're going to have to battle each other, but do they love each other? Anyways, this one was so much fun. I had such a good time. It's I almost forgot how much fun some books can be. Like I do have fun while reading. Obviously, I read for a reason, but this just really got me. It just really reminded me of a passion, a burning flame in my soul for reading these types of books. And we're going forward in my life, and we will be reading more books like this. But I read everything. You know that. You see that. On we go. 5 stars. Next up is Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rifka Brunt. This is 137,000 ratings. This came out in like 2012, so it's been out for a while. I read this with my book club. This one follows this young girl in the 80s. She's like 15 or so, and the closest person in her life to her is her uncle, and her uncle passes away. He had AIDS. It doesn't really focus on AIDS in general. That's not really like the point of the book, but there are like, they bring up like misconceptions and stuff like that at the time with AIDS. But at the funeral, she ends up meeting her uncle's partner. She ends up kind of developing a relationship with him, like a friendship, and starting to learn about like more about who her uncle was, because her mother kind of kept her away from that part of her uncle's life. So she had never met her uncle's partner, and it was a nice like coming of age story that felt very raw and very true to like youth experience instead of like a cautionary tale or anything like that. Definitely written for adults. I don't know, there was something lacking about it. The main character kind of peeved me. Like I felt annoyed by her quite often, and I just like couldn't get behind her. Everyone else in my book club loved it. Did I? No, not really. It just didn't catch me. It felt almost like We Have Always Lived in the Castle. That main character, who also kind of annoyed me, but I did like that book more. I don't know. Anyways, I don't have a flame and passion for this one. We got a 3-star because it was good. It was good. I had a good time. It wasn't the best. Next up is another one I got through my library, and that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. I was like, what was her name again? So when I was younger, I watched iCarly like many, and I always enjoyed her. This one has 454,000 reviews on Goodreads. Makes sense because this has been the most popular book, I feel like, in quite some time. It's a memoir. It follows her life from the time she's a child up until basically present day, her mom passing away. It is difficult to read. It is sad. It is a lot of trigger warnings, abuse, and stuff like that. And just the way that her mom made her perceive life and such, and how she was manipulated and forced into a lot of things, and her life was like guided by her mom and taken over by her mother. It was hard to read. It was a difficult book to read. I enjoyed it in the sense that I was glad that she was sharing her story. I did not rate this book because I'm starting to think that maybe with like memoirs and stuff like that, where it's someone's story, I guess depending on it, I don't feel comfortable rating it. I feel like it's not my place to say your life is 3 stars for me. So I feel like it's just better not to rate it. That's really as much as I have to say about this book. I really enjoyed it. It's just I can't rate it. Can't rate it. Okay, the last book is a book that I brought up in last reading wrap up because I was in the middle of reading it and the show was coming out, so I was like, I want to mention it now. So this one has over 1 million views, 1.02 million. And that is Daisy Jones and the Six, Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the first Taylor Jenkins Reid I've ever read. I was trying to do a Taylor Jenkins Reid like first time reading vlog sort of thing, and I deleted all the footage. So you will never see that. I love this book though. It's from like the 1970s and rock band. I did not think I would love this. This did not sound like something that I would enjoy, but it just really took hold. It was a wild ride. The characters I didn't particularly love either. It was the story. It was just this epic tale of rock and roll, debauchery, trying to find yourself, trying to recover, and trying, like, from addiction and stuff like that. And it was just beautiful, wonderful. I want to read more Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I felt like I was just needing to open this book for some reason. Oh, it's told in like an interview format, which I didn't realize before reading it. And I love how sometimes it'll be like one person will be telling a story and then another person will be telling the story, but will tell it differently. Like they'll both say they did the same thing, but only one of them could have done it. Or like they'll say that different people were in a room. So I thought that was a really interesting way to kind of do that and have a story that shows so many sides instead of just being like one person's story. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna read more Taylor Jenkins Reid. I just lent 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo to my mom though, so I probably won't see that again for like a month or 2. So at some point I will be reading more. And that's really all, you know? Okay, so I gave it 5 stars. Those are all the books I read this month. Okay. So that is about it for my reading wrap up for March. Thanks for joining. Always happy to have you here. Please go ahead and like this video if you got to the end, and comment your favorite book of this month or your least favorite book of this month. Yeah, comment your favorite or least favorite. I'd like to know. Thanks. Bye.